Alright guys, welcome back to my channel, Lucas Lens Tech. Today I've got a sort of interesting little unboxing video, I guess, and this is a TP-Link 200 megabits per second, 5-port 100 megabits per second desktop switch. Nothing super exciting there. This is the back of the box. So what happened was, if you watched my setup video from a few weeks ago, my Linksys switch, I went to go reset everything on my network, and I unplugged the Linksys switch just to reset it, which you probably don't really need to do, but I was just trying to troubleshoot my internet connection that day, and when I unplugged it and plugged it back in, none of the LED lights came on or anything, so it just completely died. And I was kind of not too surprised that that happened, because it was like an old router that somebody just gave me. It was new in the box, but I don't know. The box was open, so it could have been used. I thought it was new. Might have been used, and it might have just been old, and just couldn't really handle it. So I chose TP-Link because I watched a lot of YouTube videos and heard a lot of good things about them. This Ethernet switch was the right number of ports that I wanted, 5. It's a 10100, and it's pretty much a good replacement for what I got, so I picked it. It was $11.86 free shipping on eBay, and I got it in about 3 days. So we're gonna unbox this here, and then I might just follow up with a quick setup. It's plug and play. It's an Ethernet switch. It's not a router. So theoretically, you should be able to plug in all of your Ethernet cables that you want and plug in the power, and it should just start switching the data from your router to all of your various Ethernet connected devices. And just as a quick explanation of the devices that I have in here, I like to use Ethernet whenever possible. I have my MacBook Pro laptop. I like to run that off of Ethernet. Ooh, this thing is small. Look at that. It's even smaller than my Linksys that I have. But I like to run Ethernet on my MacBook Pro, even though it has wireless, because when I use my MacBook Pro to edit and then upload my videos, and I like to use Ethernet for that because it's a smoother upload. It doesn't hog my Wi-Fi bandwidth, and I have a lot of wireless devices on my network since I have teenagers, so I do not, if I'm not hogging my bandwidth, then I don't hear them complaining to me saying, "Dad, are you uploading a YouTube video?" So there's that. I also have my iMac over here. My old, this is a G3 500 megahertz iMac, and I like to run that off of Ethernet because I share my iTunes library, and I like to have my iTunes library on my iMac so that I can use it for the jukebox. It's pretty much the only thing that iMac is good for these days. You can't really, you can go on the web, but it's kind of pointless to do so because it's so slow. That iMac, by the way, has 10.4 Tiger on it, the highest it will go on OS 10, which probably causes it to run even slower than it should. Excuse the Halloween candy mess back here. Alright, so I'm going to shut this off, and I'm going to plug in my Ethernet switch and pretty much just show you whether it's working or not. Alright, apologies for the terrible refresh rate on my old iMac CRT monitor, but as you can see, my library has popped up on my iMac, which means, of course, that it is now connected to the internet. So, not that this is much of a surprise to me that it wouldn't work, because it's just an Ethernet switch, which is basically a surge protector for Ethernet. It expands the ports, but that's working. So now it's downloading it's connecting to my iTunes library. My Mac's running nice and speedy. So we can just do a quick speed test here. Focus a little bit here. is, it's not showing me Ookla. I want Ookla. Let's type it in, I guess. I don't know why it's like, oh, it's because I'm in Yahoo search. That's why. Terrible Yahoo search. Let's go to El Google. I want Ookla speed test. That's what I like to use. Sometimes I'll use Bright House speed test because that's my ISP provider, but I like Ookla. And we will begin test. So let's see our download speed. After it pings, of course, it's going to ping the nearest server. And let's see. Okay, now this is showing me about 20 megabits per second. And this is middle of the day here. So, and I've got a lot of devices on my network right now as well. Of course, my devices that are all in here, my Apple TV, my Mac, my iMac. None of my wireless devices are active except for my iPhone, which I'm using to record with. So it's pretty consistent at about 15 to 20 megabits per second download speed. Upload speed will probably be about 2.3 megabits per second download speed. I'll be surprised if it's any different. Of course, this is running really laggy. But it's definitely on wireless. And then, of course, while we are waiting for that to finish, I can show YouTube. Yeah, it's going to tell me it's unavailable because I just reset the router and try to pull up movies. Let's see, it's accessing the iTunes store now. Apologies for the messiness of my room. I just got home from work and I got my router in the mail, so I wanted to, of course, install it and test it and make sure that it's all working right. But I wanted to also take the opportunity to do a quick unboxing and testing of it on video, so I didn't really take the time to speed test has ended there. So we've got about 2.3 megabits, 2.36 megabits per second. I may need to change the Ethernet cables. I may have installed them wrong, but it definitely looks as though it's working from the iMac's perspective. So anyhow, and pardon all my terrible cable management back there, but I will have to fix that when I have time. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.